Hi again. My name is Dr. Cassandra Kanda. This is the third of three videos that are all about psychological first aid. And again, I'm here with Dr. Celia Zinayed, and she's going to continue telling us about those core actions. Again, there's a total of eight. She covered in the second video the first four, and now she's going to cover the last four core actions. For psychological first aid. So, Dr. Zinayed, why don't you tell us a little bit more about practical assistance, connection with social supports, information on coping, and lastly, linkage with collaborative services.
So we last left off on information gathering on someone's needs, so like a brief needs assessment. And that's going to lead us right into this next one, which is practical assistance. So once you find out, like we talked about, does this person have access to water, food, a place to sleep tonight? Do they need a phone really briefly to try to connect with loved ones? This is the go do it. This is the like now we actually get to go do something physical to help that makes us feel a little bit more like we're being there in the moment. So, and again, this is important to know what your organization has to offer or what you personally have to offer in these moments. But yeah, so this is just going to be the very immediate needs. So, not focusing on luxury things, not focusing on long term things in the moment, but just really helping someone ground in this moment what they need right here, right now, or in the next hour or so, and what you can provide with that. So, I think that is, by the way, oftentimes the thing that's going to get you buy-in, I think, when engaging with someone and offering help. So I think if you're first talking to someone like, hey, I'm here to help, and they're like, yeah, great, what do you have for me? And if you're like, food, water, and a place to sleep tonight, they're like, okay, just kidding. Yeah, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. So I think this is a really important step in it once you kind of made those first sets of contact and help someone ground themselves in the moment. The next one so important is connection with social supports. So something horrible has just happened. We're feeling thrown off kilter. We may be injured in some way. Something awful might be happening. And sometimes we just need a friendly face, someone we know, someone we love, someone we care about to give us a hug or to hold our hand or to give us a shoulder squeeze, a something that tells them that they're not alone in that moment. And sometimes we can really help with that if we're with an organization, for instance, or we just are in a good enough place. Like, let's say the disaster or war torn area did not happen to us. We can go in and say, yeah, let me try to help you find it. For instance, like a more innocent example, but like a kid lost at the mall of like, okay, yeah, I'll help you find the security officer. We can put a PA announcement for you. So anything that you can do to try to connect people. And if that's just giving them access to a phone, sometimes phone lines are down or there's no access to something like that. But then it might be, hey, I'll go with you. Let's walk around the neighborhood. Let's see if anyone knows where someone you have is with. So just letting them know they're not alone and that you may not be the person they want to see in a difficult event and not taking that personally, because it's a huge thing. I think we know a lot
Well,
about in the mental health field. We may not be the most comforting person to them, but we can absolutely connect them with someone who is.
mhm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Any major thoughts on those? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really just thinking of how I wish more people knew these.
Simple. Yep.
Right? Like, because you talk about the example you just gave of the kid, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish they taught this type of approach to so many more people because oftentimes in these types of situations, people tend to freeze up and they don't know what to do. And these
Yeah.
things are so approachable and usable.
Yeah. And you just brought up a great thing I was thinking of is like, I think people often try to go straight into problem solving too. And I think it's really important to note that you're not actually doing anything immediately to solve someone's problem until step five. It's like, no, first you're just going to like introduce yourself. You're going to offer safety. You're going to help them stabilize themselves emotionally for a moment. And then you're going to get a sense of what do they need versus when we feel really helpless and stressed out, it's so easy to want to say, okay, well, why don't you just do this or fix it or something? Because again, we're feeling dysregulated, we're feeling stressed out about it. So noting that like you don't actually get to those steps until five, six, seven, eight, like that's when you provide that more tangible help and support.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, do you have any other thoughts on these or?
Oh, well, briefly mention. So for information on coping, that one
Yes.
again, a tough thing here is if you're not sure how to help someone regulate, keep in mind Pay attention to the five senses is a really good grounding
Mm.
technique. So either, drawing a circle in your hand for someone might be something that helps ground them in that moment, or helping them take a deep breath, doing that together. So if you yourself are not trained in some of those things, we can of course put out more resources for that. But coping can be anything that helps us just kind of relax in the
Absolutely.
moment, take care of ourselves. It could be sleep, getting a good meal, talking to a loved one, whatever it might be. So providing those kind of resources that again, you or your organization can hopefully have with you to hand out to people in those moments. And then just this last big piece is linking to collaborative services. So if someone, if you've done your part, you've helped them out, let's say you've gotten them into someplace safe to sleep tonight, which is huge. That's so important in some of these situations. Then it might be, here's a short-term housing association that can help you until you can get back to where you need to be. Or it's, here's where you can get food for the next few days, weeks, months, whatever is going on. Every situation is so different, really. Um, and that's why I think also networking with other relief organizations is so important instead of like no turf wars, just everyone helping each other out would be so amazing because everyone has something to offer and you never know what other organization is going to be able to provide that maybe you can't, but being able to provide that to someone, that information to someone can also help save them in a huge way. So I think
Absolutely.
last big thing there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the collaborative nature of it is so important. Um, Even, once those individuals, once you're out of that traumatized state, right, what they see you do, maybe they start to do the same thing to help other people as well.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I mean, very approachable um, ways to help people when they're at some of the hardest moments of their life in particular. So any other thoughts again about, I mean, I guess any of the videos, any of the content that we've covered regarding this topic that you wanted to touch on before we wrap up?
Just lastly, say that anyone can get trained in this, and you don't need to be a psychologist, you don't need to be a mental health provider, you don't need to be a social worker. This can be anyone who wants to help people in their community or to be able to help others if and when unfortunately something maybe happens. So we'll definitely put the access for that information and the certificate. Again, it's usually a free training. This is something that like, we want everyone to know. So we will certainly try to provide as much resources as possible. A link in the chat that or in the description that for anyone who's interested in getting certified themselves as a psychological first aid provider.
I love that. And thank you again, Dr. Zanaid. This information is so incredible. And for again, anyone that's listening or watching, feel free to comment, share the information to anybody that you would think would benefit from this. And take care.